Here we go again. CM Punk landing in hot water with a lot of AEW fans for shooting off about Hangman Adam Page and the Elite. This time it was in a promo after the cameras went off the air after a fairly enjoyable episode of Collision. I just frothed at the mouth there. Can't believe we're doing this again. After Collision went off the air, as is customary with AEW and WWE, actually most wrestling companies that I know of, after the cameras go off the air, they'll come out and they'll say thanks to the crowd. Hope you guys had a great time, and they'll get a little FaceTime in with the crowd. And in this particular case, it was CM Punk and FTR after a really great match between those three and the House of Black. CM Punk got on the mic. He made some derogatory references to Hangman Adam Page. He said something along the lines of, I was at the grocery store and I realized why they call him Hangman Adam Page, because if you go to the toy aisle, you see a bunch of Hangman Adam Page action figures hanging around because nobody wants to buy them. And then he went and he said something like, a lot of people claim that they're the heart and soul of AEW, but they're not the chin of AEW, because if I gave him a GTS, they'd go right to sleep. And that he's the guy who sells all the merch and gets all the ratings. And then FTR got back on the mic and had a couple of nervous laughs and said, oh, I think he's turning heel right now. So what does this all mean? Oh my God, is this more drama between CM Punk and the Elite and AEW? I don't know. I don't know. According to Wrestling Observer, backed up by Fightful Select, Sean Rossap, apparently this was not some sort of a worked promo leading to a match between CM Punk and Hangman Adam Page. Apparently, Hangman Adam Page was requested to be at the Collision taping in order to film a pre-taped promo for Dynamite on Wednesday, but then when he got there, was told, nah, we got to go do this somewhere else, because apparently he wasn't allowed in the same building as CM Punk. And then Ryan Nemeth apparently was asked to come into Collision to do a match or something, and then he was turned away and booked a flight back home, evidently stemming from a tweet that he had about CM Punk after his return promo, calling him soft, or said something like literally the softest man alive. So what does this mean? I get the feeling that it's one of three things. And before I talk about these three things, number one, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, because it really helps the situation here at WrestleJuice. And number two, after all this happened, CM Punk went to Instagram and dropped a picture of a still from the movie Ed Wood. Remember Ed Wood? It's about the guy who made Plan 9 from outer space. And it was a still of Martin Landau's character, and he was dropping a promo of his own where he was like, beware. And then there was like Guns N' Roses' It's Too Easy, a song I was not familiar with. Anyways, so that was his cryptic way of, I guess, addressing this situation. Maybe. So the way I see it, there's one of three things going on here. I have them written down here. First one is this: Punk and Hangman, they're going to have a match at All Out. I don't know, man. I think it's entirely possible. Maybe there's a little bit of misdirection being thrown at the journalists, the dirt sheets, whatever they want to be called. And maybe this match is going to happen. Maybe Punk is setting it up with Hangman, and all the bridges have been mended. You got FTR and Young Bucks working All In. Punk and Joe are going to go on at All In, so it leaves CM Punk to do something there at All Out. Maybe it's going to be Hangman Adam Page. I would love to think that this is just a really fun, clever way to set up an actual match between these two, because I think that would garner a lot of interest, right? I think it would. Anyways, it'd be a great way to make a lot of money for the company. Number two, Punk's out of control, man. He's pissed off, and he hates that Hangman is now probably making around the same kind of money that he is, and the Elite are making the same kind of money he is, and he was hoping that maybe they would make their ways to WWE so he could have AEW all to himself. He could start working on Wednesdays instead of Saturdays, because he'd rather be bowling or doing karaoke or hanging out at a bar, drinking not alcohol, because he doesn't drink alcohol. But see, you can go to a bar and not drink alcohol. I've seen people do it before. I haven't done that before. I feel a little bit weird when I go to a bar and I'm like, can I just get like a Diet Coke? I feel a little bit weird. I'm like, hey, let me get some booze, please. I'm not straight edge, thank God. Anyways, so yeah, he went, and now he's pissed off that he can't drive them out of town. They're probably going to be sticking around past the duration of his contract, and he's like, I got to deal with these guys. So he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to run them down. It'll be fun. Number three, Punk is leaning into being a bad guy because the crowd is still kind of torn on him. He likes being a bad guy, and this is an easy way to get attention and kind of more importantly, promote his show. I think that's probably what's actually happening here, is that he realizes taking these cheap shots at the Elite, who doesn't have to deal with anyways, taking cheap shots at them is just an easy way to promote Collision, which he probably wants to make the A show. As far as the Hangman Page stuff showing up and then being turned away, I don't know what to make of that. If it's true, that's sort of a sad state of affairs that somebody who's in the company can't go to the set of tapings and then tape a thing. But I don't know what arrangement necessarily Tony Khan had with CM Punk and the Elite in terms of, no, these people are not allowed to be at your show, and this guy is not allowed to be at your show. I get the feeling that maybe that has something to do with it. And as far as the Ryan Nemeth thing is concerned, I don't know, it seems like Punk was just sort of pissed off about that. And he says, no, you fuck off because you called me soft. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know what this guy's deal is. Either he's a genius or he's a man baby. Either, I don't know. You go online and you see all the responses to this CM Punk business, and that's what you'll find is either he's a man baby or he's a genius. And he's working everybody. He's working the dirt sheets, if you will. So I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments below? Let me know. Is there any middle ground? Is there any because I kind of feel like the third one that I talked about is the middle ground, where it's like he's just, you know what, I'm trying to bring some attention, and I'm a bad guy these days. I'm sort of a bad guy anyways. I feel like I'm going to be a bad guy because the crowd's still sort of torn on me, so why not have some fun with it and lean into the bad guy aspect of things and just run down Hangman Page because he's an easy target. What do you guys think about all this? Do you even give a shit anymore? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, if he wants attention, he got it here from WrestleJuice anyways, so he's got us. He's got us talking about it, right? Anyways, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the Bloodline because everybody loves the Bloodline. Oh, man, big events on Saturday. No, Friday, the day before that. Of course, Jey Uso said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go to AEW. He didn't say that. He says, I'm quitting the Bloodline. I'm quitting SmackDown. I'm quitting the WWE. And then the reports are nobody in the Bloodline is scheduled to be there on Friday. Next week. And I thought the segment on SmackDown was absolutely fantastic. Roman Reigns just sitting there watching all the drama play out between the two Usos. Jimmy explaining himself. I don't quite necessarily buy the explanation, and that's going to lead us into talking about what Kurt Angle said about the Bloodline. This is what he said on his podcast. The storyline is great. I love it, but I think Heyman was full of shit. I think they're in the 8th inning and they're stressed. They're making shit up now. That's what I believe. Paul Heyman, I know him, and I know that he's probably going crazy right now. What do we do next? Paul Heyman responded to this, and he said, no matter what inning we're in, as you guys recall, Paul Heyman had said that the Bloodline story is only in the bottom of the 3rd inning, so there's still a lot left to go. Paul Heyman said, no matter what inning we're in, at least we're not looking for exposure through the next Old Timers Day. Ahem. And just for the record, I typed this tweet with a broken freaking fingernail. I'm so glad that he's still referring to it as a tweet because I'm not referring to that stupid app as X. It's Twitter, god damn it. Anyways, Paul Heyman shouting down Kurt Angle's accusations that they're freaking out. They don't know what to do next. So here's sort of what I think about what's happening right now with the Bloodline and Paul Heyman's assertion that they're in the 3rd inning and not Kurt Angle saying they're in the 8th inning and they're freaking out. This is what I think. I think that they don't actually have a plan per se in terms of where this is all going to go. I think they know that A, it's really big business, so they should probably keep it going for as long as they can, but also B, they might have somewhat of an ending in mind for when it becomes obvious that they need to wrap it up. You don't just end a story like this that is doing the kind of business that it is doing for WWE. Wrestling is the kind of thing that you can make up as it goes along. In fact, I don't think for a second, for example, the Mega Power storyline was planned out 2 years in advance. I think they just sort of did it and ran with it. And then 2 years later, you ended up with the Mega Powers imploding or exploding or whichever one it was. I think that the Bloodline storyline has a lot that they can do with it. I don't think that they're just sort of panicking right now it seems kind of obvious that they know that it's big business and they're going to ride it as long as they can. And eventually it's just going to end with Roman Reigns probably losing that title, and then they'll figure out what to do there. I don't think wrestling is the kind of thing that they just sort of plan out 5 years of story and then they have like a definitive end. In fact, even most television shows don't do that. Somewhere along the way with most television shows, they figure out, okay, this is how we're going to end it. We should probably start building to that point. I get that from a number of things. For example, Lost was sort of that way. I read a thing with Bill Hader in the show Barry recently. Succession, I read about how that came to its end. So I think the bloodline is kind of similar in that they just understand, hey, right now, this is big business and it's a hot story that people are really invested in. And there's always going to be people out there saying, oh, it's jumped the shark. It's getting boring. It's getting stale. But as long as the numbers are really good, that flies in the face of that criticism. If the numbers are good, people are going to be into it and they're going to continue to invest emotionally in the product and invest financially in the product. So whether it's in the third inning or the eighth inning or the fifth inning, which is probably a bit more appropriate to say it's closer to like maybe the sixth inning. I don't see them going much further than, let's say, another 2 years or so. I don't really think that they probably could, and I don't know that the fan base is there to keep it going for that long, but I don't know. You never know. I mean, Roman Reigns has had all of like, what, 4 title defenses this year, so maybe they can. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about what Kurt Angle said in the comments below. If anybody knows Paul Heyman pretty well, it's probably Kurt Angle. He spent a lot of time with him. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. We got more content coming up this week. We got to think of tier rank. I got doing one of them bracket fight things, tournament things, and of course a quiz on Wednesday. And then on Friday, I'll back to a live Asks Wrestle Juice. So yeah, join me for that. Check out one of these videos here. See you around.